Welcome back. I'm Austin Westfall. Take a look. It's not every day that we get an update related to the assassination attempt on President Trump last summer, but today we did. We learned about some of the disciplinary action taken against a number of Secret Service agents after the shooting in Butler, Pennsylvania last year. 6 Secret Service agents were suspended without pay following the incident. The disciplinary action took place in February, the Secret Service says, which confirmed the news because a Senate report on the failures in Butler, Pennsylvania is set to be released soon. National Security Analyst and host of the Strat Podcast, Hal Kempfer is still here. He has decades of interagency homeland security experience. Hal, we will get to the news of the day in a moment here, but we're going to start first with Thomas Matthew Crooks. This is one of the questions I get most often from viewers. They want to know why we don't know more about him. Sunday marks 1 year since the shooting happened. Is it normal, Hal, for us to not know much about such a high-profile shooter?
Austin, it's really interesting. A lot of times there are a lot of questions that surround the shooters. You know, Lee Harvey Oswald. There's still things we don't know about Lee Harvey Oswald that are coming up to this very day. And you know, look how many years that was. That was back in the early '60s. So it's not uncommon. I think of the Route 91 shooting. I can think of a number of other shootings. Part of it is it's you say we don't know a lot, but the other part is the news cycle tends to turn, and there's other things that are happening. I think you know this more than anybody else, that there are other stories that tend to take up all of our time, and so there's less reporting on this particular shooter. Outside the immediate time frame when this took place. And then the other thing too is he's pretty young. There really wasn't a substantial background to talk about. So what's out there is out there. You know, will we ever completely connect the dots as to his motivation? I don't know if we ever completely connect the psychological dots in these guys, but I think we have a pretty good idea of why he did what he did.
So, as I mentioned, Sunday marks the 1-year anniversary of the July 13th assassination attempt on President Trump. This is something that we're going to be covering this weekend. The news of the day, Hal, is that the Secret Service did suspend 6 agents. It was supervisors, it was line-level agents, and it ranged from 10 to 42-day suspensions without pay. What's the reasons that they gave for the punishment?
Well, the reason they said they did a very thorough investigation. I mean, it's almost a year since that shooting, so that tells you how long it's been going. There will be certainly a lot of questions on Capitol Hill as to why it took so long to get to this point. They didn't fire anybody. They didn't terminate anyone, but what that kind of indicates to me, it ranged from about 10 days off unpaid leave to about 6 weeks off. And what that kind of tells me is what I've also heard from the director of Secret Service is that this is kind of an agency failure. And they've talked about that they are bureaucratically encumbered. They weren't thinking, I'm going to use my term, dynamically, if you will, at various different threats. They kind of got stuck in a rut. I think the op tempo or operational tempo of what they were doing kind of caught up with them in the election season. So they weren't doing everything they did, but I saw the advance team obviously didn't do a very good job. I also saw what looks like the folks who are responsible for command and controlled interagency coordination. That is a huge one. Did a rather poor job, and that's who they seemed to focus on was those agents tactically that were there, that jumped on to the president and got him off the stage. Those agents, they did their jobs, but there were others that they really just didn't do a thorough job, and that's what happened. And the big one was anybody responsible for that building or should have been responsible for that building. That was just an utter failure across the board.
Hal, we have to leave it at there for now. Hal is the host of the Strat Podcast. You can listen to it anywhere podcasts are available. Good to see you as always.
Great to see you, Austin.